are live.
Hello.
Hello.
To everyone who's in attendance tonight, thank you guys so much for joining us. Tonight, we're going to be talking about holiday fraud awareness, how to spot and protect yourself from seasonal scams. Tony, you want to talk about spoofing phone calls and
Sure
what they
thing.
are?
Yes, it is in our industry and every industry we know of at this point. Spoofing, just simply put, I mean, there's a definition there, but at the end of the day, it's someone pretending to be someone they're not to get something from you. And usually it's a negative thing, or stealing your money or stealing your information. So essentially, the thing to remember is anytime you get a call or text, I feel like nowadays I get more calls and texts that are not good than good, but anyone can spoof a number. And so it may look like it's coming from Campus USA or your utility bill company or something, and it may not be. So I mean, when in doubt, hang up. We have a lot of banners. If you've been online banking recently, you've definitely seen those banners. But yeah, that's the big hot topic right now. Like I said, they're very good. They know what they're doing. They learn their industry. They will preemptively scout out companies and learn how they speak with their customers, their members, and they they role play it, and they get far.
Yeah, it's not just our members. I'm seeing it. I think we were talking about it earlier. I've seen the notifications on utility companies' pages, basically any financial institution where you can withdraw money.
Amazon's got it now too.
Is it?
Letting you know, hey, we will never call you to, cancel something, or you need to pay us additional. Like,
Right.
yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can literally get anything on Amazon, including gift cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which we'll talk.
Which we'll talk about that.
Exactly. Okay, so the spoofing phone calls, now we know what they are. And so the FTC says, don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. If it's important, they'll leave a message.
Yep.
I agree with that.
100%. Yeah.
My favorite thing, I have an iPhone, is if it's a number I don't recognize and my phone doesn't, indicate that it might be a spam caller or something, I'll let it go to voicemail, and then I can just watch the voicemail as it comes through.
It's a great feature. Yeah.
And then if it's somebody then you can answer it.
Yeah.
I love that too.
Or it's someone and you don't want to answer.
Oh, that too. I wasn't going to go there. But yeah, that's a really great safeguard. But recently we had the opportunity, well, I should say Tony had the opportunity to record an actual spoof call that happened. One of our employees here at Empower Park got a phone call. If you want to set up the scene a little bit, Tony.
Yeah, one of our coworkers, he received a spoof call earlier in the day, and she told me a little bit about how it went, and they ended up hanging up. And so I told her, I was like, if you get another one, let me know. And within 10 minutes, she got another call, and so I come sprinting across, and I got my phone out recording, and I'm like, let's do this. So we did a little role playing, and we tried to get them to go as far as possible because we knew it would be a good opportunity, and we know what these calls sound like, but we've never actually had a live one. It's always examples or telling you how it goes. So it was really nice to hear, it for real and how they sound. So this will be a good example for a lot of people. And
transactions.
Sure, where are you calling from?
Yes, I am calling you from Gainesville. The branch location is 1900 Southwest 34th Street, Gainesville, Florida.
Okay, which branch?
Yes, 1900 Southwest 34th Street, Gainesville, Florida, 32608.
Okay.
The Campus USA branch.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a moment so we can verify some transactions?
Sure.
Okay, one moment here. My system is loading. So we did decline 2 transactions on our side to confirm with you. So the first transaction here that we do have in question, it is the transaction at a target and the dollar amount of $370. And the location of this target, it is transpiring with the location of Houston, Texas. Was this transaction authorized or attempted by you, Mrs. Hooser?
No, it was not.
Okay, thanks for verifying this with me as I input this in the system as compromised. Just one moment.
Okay.
And also, Mrs. Hooser, are you currently traveling outside of the state of Florida at the current moment?
No, I'm not.
All right, thanks for confirming that with me as I do notate this down in the system also.
Sure.
Okay, and I also have a second transaction, which was an attempt of a cash withdrawal attempt of $500 and an Allpoint Bank ATM, also located in Houston, Texas. Was this transaction authorized or attempted by you, Mrs.?
No, it is not mine.
Okay, thanks for confirming that.
Okay, that's the end of that part of the phone call.
Yeah.
What are some things that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean the first thing to point out is if you notice they didn't ask anything suspicious out the gate, right? They didn't ask for your date of birth, your social, no codes, no passwords. They just saying, hey, like there's some attempts on your card and we
They
want to
don't
help you
know.
out.
Yeah.
So that's something that, you know, it lets people's guard down, but also in this instant, you know, your card's going to be declined and you've had attempted fraud. And so you start hearing other states, and it's easy for us to say in hindsight, you know, and we're listening to the call, and some of you guys out there might be listening to it. Well, like, of course this sounds fake, but when you're kind of in the moment and you don't know when you're answering this call, you know, you're at work, you pick up the phone, you're like, oh, I wasn't in Texas, and why is this transaction coming through? And so
puts you on high alert.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And you want the person to like act fast, right? So yeah, I think that was really interesting. And as he was working in his system.
Yeah, that was the thing too I liked is like, let me pull it up, you know, given that like there's actually a system back there, right?
Right.
It's actually loading up. Like,
all right. So then the next part of the call, he goes through and tells her what happens now that she says her card, those were not her transactions.
Also, do you have your card in your possession? Is it not lost or stolen?
I have it in my possession.
Okay, thanks for confirming that. So based on the responses that you just provided back to me, it does seem like your card has been compromised, which means someone has gained access to your card information and tried to attempt those transactions, but our system detected those transactions immediately, so no funds were deducted in that present moment. So I am going to go through the procedure of reissuing you out a card replacement, which you will be receiving by mail in the next 5 to 7 business days by U.S. Postal Mail, or I can have a card expedited to you as early as 2 to 3 business days through via FedEx. Which mailing option would you prefer?
Just the standard is fine. I don't need it expedited.
Okay, thanks for confirming that with me. Just one moment here. And I'd also like to mention we will further investigate this matter to determine where your card information may have been exposed and who tried to attempt those transactions this afternoon.
Okay.
yeah. So I think just to follow up on the last one, it's something similar. I mean, we're pretty deep into this phone call, and you cut out a little bit just for time's sake, but we're still pretty far into this phone call, and nothing really suspicious has happened. Like these are things we would talk to a member about. Like, hey, you had suspicious transactions. We're concerned about it. And to me, you getting this far in a phone call, there's nothing wrong with it, right? You've gotten to a point where, you know, those are things you would want to verify and everything. And so then you see, of course, they offering to expedite it and things like that is very friendly of them, very nice. And of course, she declined it. I was shocked, you know, because I was in the room with her. I was like, you should take the expedited. But,
I think he was a little surprised too. He's like, oh man.
Yeah.
And that's where it's a little different too, because we knew the whole time what he was doing. I think, you know, he's probably a little shocked that one, she wasn't more shocked about her card being used. But also, you didn't want the expedited option because, again, it's kind of throwing you off, like giving you new options, being really friendly, nice, and things like that. So it all plays into the narrative that they truly are who they think they are, or they're proclaiming to be.
Yeah.
Or even the extra step of saying, like, you know, we'll do further research to figure out why you're or how it was compromised and get that information so that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to get her in a mindset of let's get him. Like, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's the good stuff.
Yeah, it gets a little rough. Yeah.
And just for security verification, I will ask you a security question that only you should know. Just one moment here.
Okay.
Okay, and just for security verification, my system is prompting for you to verify the user ID that you do use when you sign into your online banking or mobile app.
Okay. Are you ready?
Just one moment. Yes, I am ready.
Okay, it's
Okay, thank you for confirming that here also. And also, is the phone number that we're currently speaking on a good number for text message verification? Okay, because we do want to send out a one-time text message verification for authentication here also. So one moment here. So is the phone number ending in a good number for text message verification?
Yes.
Okay, so my system will prompt out a one-time text message verification through via text message. Once you receive that, can you confirm that back with me? Okay?
Okay.
One moment here. So you should be receiving that shortly.
So tell us what happened. We cut out a lot. What
Yeah.
happened after that? Obviously, you did provide him with your actual username.
Yeah, it took a little bit of risk there. So I'm in the risk and fraud department, so a little risky.
Don't do that.
Yeah, and I've changed things since, but the goal there was I didn't want the call to stop there. I wanted to really show an example for our employees and for folks like you guys trying to learn more about this is what they do after the fact. So yeah, I gave my user ID, my real username, and then at that point he then verified, because at that point essentially he was in the forgot password screen. So
Right.
he typed in my user ID and then he's hit the button and then it prompts like we normally would prompt, we need to verify you with a one-time code. And so he looked through the options and saw the number ending in mine, verified that, and then the hope was, to click that and to send it to me. But in this moment, I kind of hopped in pretending to be husband because, obviously our coworker, she didn't want to give out hers, which I don't blame her.
Right.
I took one for the team there, so I kind of hopped in and pretended to be that role and said, okay, yeah, I'll get the code.
So in a big portion after this, I think Tony had a little bit too much fun. He kept giving him the wrong code. And so the caller, it seemed that he was getting a little frustrated.
Yeah.
And he said, "Are you sure? Are you actually opening the text message?" And Tony said, "Yeah, I don't know. This is the number."
So I will say, as risky as I am giving out the user ID, I would never give out a secure access code, which is what no one out there
Right.
should do either. So yeah, I
Yes.
kept giving. It was actually kind of difficult too because I'm staring at the number in front of me and I'm purposely trying to say a different number. So that's sometimes what happens too, is if they do start getting frustrated. I can't speak for other companies, but people at campus were very friendly. We're helpful to our members. We're not going to get very frustrated early. Maybe we might walk you through it and have to,
Yeah.
but that's not something we would do. Would get frustrated and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think anybody at this point we have to remember if this caller, or I'm sorry, if the person getting this phone call, really believed that there were fraudulent transactions, and those were big dollar amounts too. I want to protect my account, and this guy's going to help me do it. Now, it's interesting though, because he says it's your compromised debit card, but he's going into your online banking, which, but we know on the back end, those aren't, yes, they're connected. They're connected, but to turn off someone's debit card, they don't need to access your access to online banking. We can access the system from the back end. We don't need to get into your online banking. So that's
Correct.
really, really important, I think, for a lot of people to remember. We'll never ask for your user ID, and we won't ask for those other codes.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so after all this, and you're not able to provide him with the right access code, he's going to shut you down, Tony.
Yeah, this shut my whole account down.
In this
So,
protocol, we will put a restriction on your account, which means you won't have full access to your profile at the present moment, and you can step into the branch, any branch, with 2 forms of identity.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for keeping me safe.
Okay, not a problem. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns for me at the present moment?
Yeah, is there a number I can call you back on that in case I need to follow if I can't go back into the branch?
Yes, sir. You can also reach out to me at 352-335-9090.
And what was your name again?
Yes, Brian Creech.
Okay.
yeah, so there you could tell he was pausing a little bit, and some people might be wondering, why did he keep being, trying to be friendly and end the phone call and say you have to go into the branch, and what happens after this is, or just in general, is our coworker got 2 more calls the following day
Really?
and another call. Yeah, so they know they were able to get so far with this person, and so they kind of get a check mark in their system going, okay, this person was able to fall for this much, let's see if we can hit him again.
Yeah.
and try to get further with them. And so unfortunately I had to finally tell her, like, just tell these people, they're a scammer, so they can stop calling you.
Yeah.
But
Right. Shut
but-
it down.
but yeah, and they all have different, slightly different tactics, but these are very common, and they kind of do that starting off, trying to help you. They give you fear at first. You're going to have your account shut off, your card shut off. Then they're going to help you, maybe expedite it, and then they shift over to where they're really trying to go, which is, the online banking. And that's
Right.
been very common for takeovers.
I was really impressed that he just like didn't really break character. He knew at that point, I'm not getting into this account. And then he was still really nice and gave out our phone number.
Yeah.
He stayed in character. But anyway, it's scary impressive
Yeah.
how well they kind of just keep it going. Okay, so now that we've talked about spoof phone calling, let's talk about how people trick you through emails and texts.
So this is pretty much the same as the spoof phone calls. They're just emailing you and texting you instead.
Right.
They're doing the same thing. They're alerting you to something that is possibly wrong with your account, and they're going to send you a bad link. And when you click it, they're going to request information. Sometimes it can be related to security questions. So it's kind of the same thing where they can get into your account and try to reset the password to lock you out so that then they're able to get in.
Right.
But it's the same concept. It's just through email and text.
And this is, obviously they're trying to get into our members' accounts, for instance, because there's something that they can gain from that. And now I know that there are other entities that will pretend, or they'll pretend to be like other entities because they can get other very sensitive information that
They might pretend to be Amazon or Target because a lot of times we'll have our credit card information saved in our profiles for those types of retailers. So it doesn't just have to be your financial institution. It can be any account that you have sensitive information and they just want to get a hold of that information.
Right. I like this. This is quick and easy. Very, very standard example of phishing text.
Right. Yeah. So it's a perfect, as a real example too. So we try to bring, sadly, that we can bring so many real examples to the table as a saying itself. But
right.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of, they throw out a large transaction. $1,000 or like, what is this? And then your immediate reaction is to type no. And then you see, they go right into, we're blocking for your protection. And then, okay, but what's your username? It's
right.
Well, why do you need to know that? And then some of the scary things on these, we've also seen on additional attacks is they want to see if you respond because then it confirms you're near your phone, right? So then they might follow up with a phone call. And so you got the text. It's kind of like, okay, well, now it makes sense they're calling me. And so they really, because a lot of these times they don't want to call and then just have no one answers. So this confirms they're near the phone. And then it's sad how cautious you have to be these days that you can't just get a text and verify something. But
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. It's like going fishing. They send out 1,000 text messages and see who bites.
It's very cheap to send those texts. So they just blast them out there. If 14 people say anything, then that person can then try to call them. And
those are
go
hot
from there.
leads.
Yeah.
And this one is really standard, like very basic. Now you see text messages with links, and Lord knows where those links go, because no one should be clicking on them.
Honestly, links you should just never don't even click it. It's
Not worth it. All right, so gift card scams. Letitia, is this even still a thing?
Yeah, very
Really?
much so.
Oh.
And all of these have similar concepts where they're putting you on high alert. A lot of these with the gift card scams, it gets scary because sometimes they'll pretend to be the IRS and they're like, you're going to be taxed and fined. And they'll pretend to be a tech support company and say like your computer is compromised. So now they want to gain access to your computer. They can pretend to be a family member or friend, or just any representative from any company that you might use. Like we mentioned before, like retailers that you might frequent at, but they'll encourage you like, hey, this needs to be paid immediately. So they're like, the quickest way to get that to us is you can go get gift cards, and they'll give you an amount that you need to go get in gift cards.
Mhm.
And they're like, all you have to do is call us back, give us the pin on the back, you scratch it off, and then they're able to essentially use an e-gift card at that point. And you still have the physical gift card, but they're able to use the funds.
Right.
And so that's another way that they scam.
Yeah.
Luckily, retailers now have red flags within their sales systems. I recently went to go get gift cards for teachers for the holidays.
Yes.
Right over at Walgreens right next to us. Because of the amount that I was buying, it flagged it and was like, why are you buying so many gift cards? And even the cashier was like, hey, and I was like, these are for teacher gifts. And he's like, oh, okay. So again, it's just isn't for credit unions, for banks, for financial
Yeah.
institutions. It's for any type of retailer. Again, like they might pretend to be the IRS. So it's just, I think people are becoming more aware of it, and it just kind of adds that extra step. Like, if Publix or Walgreens is like, hey, why are you buying this many gift cards? It's just another.
I feel like it's easier. I
Yeah.
mean, it's easier if they find someone who is just, unsuspecting and they believe them.
Mhm,
They just need them to get to the store,
mhm.
Yeah.
make them afraid enough to go to the store, get those gift cards, and in a second they can give those numbers out. The same thing happened to me though. I was at Publix a few months ago and buying a lot of gift cards. We often do like some giveaways and on social media, and before checking out, or I think it was one of the managers kind of casually came over and started asking me some questions. I knew exactly why he was asking, and I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I said, actually, we are very passionate about teaching consumers about fraud and how it happens. I said, so I love that you're just another safeguard in place for people, because it happens a lot. I really didn't realize it was as common as it used to be though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're not able to trace it.
I know.
Yeah.
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 Once it's gone, it's gone. All right. 'Tis the season. Tis the season.
Yeah.
Um,
Package delivery. I mean, you do get these throughout the year, but they definitely ramp up during the holidays. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you're getting, everyone pretty much orders most of their gifts nowadays online. And so you might be getting packages from UPS, FedEx, and USPS. And so you get a text and it says, it's going to be delayed. And
Right.
you're like, oh no, instantly click on the link and it might take you straight to something malicious, or might have you put in credentials or something. And so
mhm.
one of those things where the knee jerk reaction is,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's the holidays, I bought something.
Mhm.
And so like me personally, if I get I usually know what's coming because I'm excited. Usually that's going to come in the mail. But like if something like, oh, you're missing this package, I just go to my Amazon account and say,
See what's
was it delayed? Was it there? It usually tells me. Or
mhm.
Yeah.
something through FedEx. It's like, did I sign up for those alerts? Did I do it? And it's
Right.
tough. So it's just easier at that point just to go straight to the source. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone honestly pays attention. My husband actually literally this morning said, "Isn't this weird? I got this text message that said shipping cannot deliver your package." And it's like that was the name of, I guess, the shipper.
not
Yeah.
Shipping.
Not shipping.
Shipping cannot deliver your package. I think maybe it was like they were supposed to fill in the blank. And I said, "Oh, that's definitely fraud."
Yeah.
I said, "Was there a link?" He said, "Yeah. Don't click the link."
Don't click
And
the
then,
link. Yeah.
he said, "Well, I got a voicemail too." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's new."
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys talk about this a lot in your department. That's the name of the game.
Mhm.
The fraudsters, they start to realize, okay, this tactic isn't really working anymore. How can we change it up a little bit?
Mhm.
So people just, it kind of just adds that extra level, because it gave me pause. I mean, I knew shipping isn't
Yeah.
sending you anything, but yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You just have to be hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
Hyper vigilant. Oh, I think we have an example too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
Take it
not
on
your shipping
over.
one. It's a different one.
No, this
But
is an old
could
one.
not be delivered. And that's usually too. I mean, again, it's that emotion, right? They're always trying to play on emotion. So the
Mhm.
emotion earlier we saw was being scared, and this one's being worried or annoyed. Like, where's my
Or just
my
during the holidays. I mean, you're a mom,
Yeah.
like you're like, okay, just let's get it done. I have a lot of things on my to-do list. Let me just see what's going on with this package. And I think it is just a really common thing to just click the link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, 'tis the season. Also, 'tis the season.
this one's always especially sad.
It is.
for charity scams because it's people that want to give, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So these are, yeah, the emotions. Let's talk about that. Like, I mean, obviously during the holidays, we open our hearts and we open our wallets, you know, for those who are a little bit more in need. Well, and fraudsters will always find that as their benefit,
Mhm.
you know.
if
to-
you're opening your wallet, someone will be there.
Well,
To,
yeah.
I mean, hey, you're there.
Strong emotion in any way, fear, you know, fear, sadness, whatever it is, you know,
Mm.
they play on it.
Yeah.
They do.
100%. And so we kind of remind this too, if you've been on previous webinars that we've done, we always remind it during, especially Florida. I mean, hurricane season, we're very familiar with that. And, you know, giving for that, right? There's a community in need and you want to donate for that. And people will start, you know, fraudsters will start showing up in your emails being like, hey, donate for this. And so, you know, we talk about, I think we put it on this slide or maybe the next, but the going straight to the source, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to donate to a charity, you love this organization, you know, we do a lot with, you know, Children's Miracle Network, right? So we would just want to go directly to that website, go to that source, donate directly to them. Don't do it through another, or even if they do advertise to you, maybe go through just directly.
Yeah. No, and this was our CFO told me about this website years ago, and I've never forgotten about it. And I will always, if there is a charity, I put them in this website, but it's charitynavigator.com. It's reputable. That's how you can verify that someone has that nonprofit status. You can also go to the IRS website. You can look someone up by their tax ID number. And that's it. Yeah. I mean, you also have those websites, GoFundMe and other things that, you know, they can bypass, like having to have, you know, a legitimate business to ask people for money. So, but I agree with you, Tony. Just give directly.
Yeah.
Play it
It's great you want to
safe.
give. We appreciate that. I think, yeah. And so, and it stinks for those charities as well, right? Because they don't get the money they were probably
I
going to
know,
receive, right?
right.
So that charity was supposed to receive something from you, you know, and we're going to be happy for it, but now it's in some fraudster's hands just because there's that miscommunication or that stepping in, you know.
Yeah. Yes, I'm very familiar with this one. I am not the fraud expert, but
You are social media guru.
I am very familiar with this, and this is probably one of the more talked about topics between our department and your department.
Mhm.
Not to mention, you know, obviously member communication, but specifically in what I do. And whenever you're on social media as a business page, it's amazing to me how many people will see that we have a lot of followers and they'll go after people who are engaging with our page. And we do our best. We really do to shut it down, ban them. But anyway, we'll get into all that. I mean, and maybe not too much, but yeah, if you guys can talk about this, like the phishing on social media, what does that look like, and how do people do it?
They'll make fake
Right.
fake profiles. So
Yeah.
someone could impersonate Campus USA Credit Union,
Yeah.
and you know, sometimes it's usually just like a letter that's off or a
Yeah.
word that's off, and I don't know, it's kind of like that. Just you're just so used to seeing it that you just recognize it
Sure.
as that's correct, but
Yeah.
they might have Campus US Credit Union instead of
Uh-huh.
USA, but you're reading it as USA. So it's just being diligent and just paying attention to what you're reading, because they will impersonate not only financial institutions, but if you're trying to shop at a local small business or something of that nature. So just being mindful, looking at maybe the follower count or when the account
Right.
was created.
Oh yeah.
That'll help you determine if it's a fraudulent account or not. But they'll often just post links and they'll kind of spam it with links. Or a lot of times business accounts won't message you directly in your inbox. And so if they're messaging you saying, hey, click this link or fill this out, complete this survey, and, you know, we'll send you something. That's not typically how businesses work on social media.
No. I mean, maybe some small businesses. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
If it's
It's
a
not common.
place with your money, like your bank
Yeah.
or
right.
or something like that. I mean, I don't know, maybe Wendy's will message you saying,
Oh.
hey, one day or something.
Wendy's is
but
different.
they're a little
than
different,
social
but
media.
yeah. And I think nowadays, I don't know if it's true, but I think Facebook, I don't think businesses can message or like they can't friend you. I think that's the one we had issues, right? Where
Yeah.
someone pretending to be a business was friending you.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
and that's
Yeah.
not possible.
And you have
So-
to follow the page.
and you have to,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, okay, well, how are they even friending me if they're not a friend?
Right,
They're a
right.
company. So
Well, and there are some businesses who, like small businesses, they may not know the difference between a personal profile and a page. And so they create a personal profile where you do have to become friends. I think they'll figure that out down the road.
Yeah.
But as a business page, you don't have that ability to directly message somebody. Now, if somebody comments on a post, you can reply to it in a private message,
Mhm.
but that is really few and far between. So, of course, we have to talk about this. I just want to jump to the fake giveaways or contests. So this is where we are right now. Campus USA Credit Union. We're on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, YouTube. But right now we're smack dab in the middle of our 12 days of giveaways, and we're running that on Facebook and Instagram. And so our social media team, we're pretty busy right now because just as I mentioned before, there are people who are just waiting for the people to engage with that post, reply to those people, and they'll hit it so fast and at odd hours. Last Friday at like 10 o'clock at night, I started getting notified that someone kept replying to people's comments. And so I immediately banned that person, reported the page, and, went through all of those steps to shut it down. But we haven't always, like that. If it's in the middle of the night and we're all sleeping, sometimes it gets through. But I think Facebook, they are getting a little better at like recognizing this is a fake profile.
Mhm.
just to kind of, you'll hear me say emotion a million times, but
Yes.
this emotion is joy, right?
Mhm.
We posted the contest and all of a sudden there's a reply from someone you think and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, cool, I won. And,
Yeah.
and so it's, again, is that knee jerk reaction, and you have to be careful making sure. And that's where, I know, we always put little disclaimers and reminders
We
like,
try,
hey,
yeah.
we're going to only contact you via this method, or we're
Yeah.
only going to,
We're not going to send you a message. We're not going to tag you. We're going to make another post with your name if you are the winner.
And as we've said, I think a few times already, if ever in doubt, just reach out directly.
Yes. Yes,
did
absolutely.
I really win this?
Quizzes or surveys. One of our other fraud analysts, Lacey, this is a big one. She's hosted a few of our webinars with me in the past, as you know, Letitia, and her stance on social media.
Yeah. I think she often says like, it's cute when you make like birthday posts and stuff for your kids, or like you're telling us like their full names and stuff. But a lot of times you're giving away
Yeah.
information that can be used for those security questions that we
Yes.
have for every account. So it's like, what city were you born in? What is the middle name of your oldest child? What
Mhm.
was what was the name of your first pet?
Yeah.
So a lot of times these quizzes and surveys, they seem fun and they seem like, oh, like I can just do this and possibly win something, but they're using those to obtain information that they can use against you in
Right.
some form of fashion. And it's usually for security questions like that.
It's amazing to me how intricate, these fraudsters can get. Like,
Mhm.
okay, if they've identified Letitia, that your mother's maiden name is this, for however they've figured that out, and then they go on to find out more information about you, but truly, that's their job. That's their job.
Yeah.
So
They're
they'll make the
building
time.
they're building a profile on you.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
because Letitia wanted to see what flower she was.
Yeah.
She answered 20 questions. And,
Or what's going to happen next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
your horoscope. Yeah.
And that's oftentimes whenever social, like I have friends who, they'll post, oh, my page got hacked, I don't accept any friend requests. That's a lot of times how that happens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're allowing access to their profile, and now there's a lot of really important things that we keep on social media, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Lacey would be,
Yeah, she's not a big fan of social media.
she would spend some time on this topic for sure.
Oh yeah.
So those are all like obviously super, super common during the holidays, but not just during the holidays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a year round thing. It's constant, but it definitely does peak this time of year.
Mhm.
Like Tony said, they play on your emotion. They like to hit us when we're vulnerable or when we're more joyful. So we're more likely to open our wallets and
Mhm.
give.
I'm just busy.
Yeah,
Right?
you're just busy. So it's like you said, like I'm trying to get everything shipped to me. Like, why is this not
Yeah.
being delivered? And so, yeah, it definitely plays on your emotions
Mhm.
in the time of year. So it's heightened, but this is something that we have to keep in mind year round.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is one of the things during the holiday season. You're just busy.
Yeah.
You're busy. And they're probably very busy.
Yes, they are.
So let's talk about some of the things. I mean, we are like a broken record when we talk about this stuff, but we have 10 things that you can do to protect yourself from fraud. So you guys want to?
Yeah, I mean,
we've talked about a lot of
definitely
these, but let's
covered a lot of
just
them, but
summarize
just
it.
to summarize them up. I mean, the verifying the caller. I mean, we talked about that very early on. You get a call and you're not sure, just when in doubt, hang up. I mean, my department here, we have to call people and verify things, and we tell them. It's kind of funny because especially after they had a scam call, they're like, "How do I know you're not the scammer?" And I'm like, "Okay, hang up, go online, research our phone number, and call back and ask for me." And when
We
they
won't get
transfer,
mad.
Yeah.
I don't get mad. I was like, "You hang up on me. I'm actually happy you took that extra step.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay." And then of course, not trusting the caller. A lot of people forget that you can fake a caller ID, and so it's kind of a shame because it's a nice feature being able to see who's calling you, but now it's really unreliable. So,
It really is.
and then of course we talked about the links, unfamiliar links, and honestly, I just say don't click on links. Really, in general,
Just
like,
in general.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, really, you can always just go to the website yourself, right? Like,
Right.
even if it's an easy link for me to click, why can't I just open my Amazon account? Like if it's an Amazon link, like I just go open it myself. I have the app, and
Yeah.
Letitia mentioned the gift cards. I mean, that's a big deal. No businesses will ask you for a payment like that.
Including the IRS.
Yeah, IRS. Yeah, and another thing too to kind of mention that we didn't back then too was like if the IRS is after you for money, if your utility company is about to shut off your water and wants money via this way, they probably would have warned you other than just one phone call, right?
Yeah.
Like you probably would have had a letter, a notice, something. It wouldn't
Good
just
point.
your first time. It's like, wow, the IRS hasn't talked to me ever, and suddenly now it's over for me, right? Like this is I pay this or it's it, So, but yeah, gift cards, are and transfer wire transfers too. I know you mentioned that there. And then again, the scammers wanting to act fast, slow you down. It's that motion. They, again, they're trying to play on that and then speed up, when they need to.
I think that was part of the call too that we cut out for time purposes. But I believe you asked, like, can we just go to a branch and get this taken care of? And he was like, well, no, this is really our protocol to handle this on the phone. Like I've already started the process, and we just would never do that. We're like, yeah, if you're more comfortable seeing someone in person, like go ahead. Like we'll even ask like, which branch do you plan on going to? I'll send them an email and let them know that you're on your way so that they know to look for you.
Right.
So yeah, they'll try to discourage you if you say like, is it easier if I just go in person? So that's one. That's one red flag too to look for.
I didn't think of that, but
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Don't get them off the line.
And then what you share online, and we just spoke about that. I mean, personal information. I mean, really, I feel like we're always just we're paranoid, but we really should be paranoid all the time. But I mean, really, just the internet out there, especially with the advancement of technology, AI. I mean, you're pretty much. I mean, you're just basically creating a profile of yourself. So everything you put out there, it's just building on itself, and people can learn that information. We haven't talked about the passwords one. This is one I know you've talked about on previous webinars with the other fraud folks, but doing, obviously long, unique passwords and not reusing passwords. The biggest thing I say, especially is for just critical accounts, right? Like your bank account password should not be the same as your insurance, account password and things like that. You
Any
want them to be
password,
different.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
any password really. And so, having them unique and you can get creative with it. I think we've talked about in another webinar. We can, do another one about it as well, just kind of how to create strong ones. But I make, I have like my variation, and then I
Don't give away your secrets too much, Tony.
But I make it
about you. So
I mean, I make it a little tailored to that site, so then it reminds me, because that's all the thing too. I mean, you have on the flip side, it's like, okay, I can never remember a password now, and so you have to have some sort of balance, and then two-factor authentication is really important too. So, a lot of these sites, they'll text you a code, and it's perfect. That's what you want, because then you have to have your device on you, and like that.
I love that. It seems that more and more places are doing that.
It's pretty standard nowadays. I feel like
it is.
And most of them force it too. It used to be back in the day, it's like, if you want to do it, if you want to secure it, but now it's no, you have to do it to get towards it.
Yeah.
And then the too good to be true. I mean, again, it seems self-explanatory, but when you're in that moment, you get that check in the mail of I won $1 million, and you're running around. It's look into it. Did I even enter this? It's and the prize offers and stuff. I mean, if you win one on campus, they'll post it. Don't worry, they'll post it, and we'll be excited you won.
Right.
Lindsay won't let me win any. I don't know why. It's really weird.
Well, Tanisha can't win either.
And then reporting scams, and we'll have a couple links to share. But if you are if you are scammed, or you are a victim, or you were a victim in the past, reporting these things is really important, because the authorities can gather this information and kind of compile and see where these things are coming from, educate people that may not be educated, or maybe crack down on some things. Maybe there is a phone number out there that's posing as somebody else, and they can aggregate that and maybe take that number down. So it's important, and usually they're pretty quick. So it's it really stinks if you are a victim, and we feel for you, but at least you can help others not become in the future.
Yeah, you really wouldn't wish it on anyone.
No, definitely not. And then the last thing, trust your instincts. If something feels off, just you gotta trust your gut. We tell our employees here and our coworkers, like, your gut's there for a reason. It sounds like a cliche thing, but it's there. And again, like, I'm never gonna question anyone that second guesses something, or I hate to say just always be scared of everything, but it's like
Spoken like a true risk manager.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the end of the day, if it really is a legitimate transaction or something, or it ends up not being a fraudster, it's like there's still no harm, no foul. Like that you took the time to do the extra step.
You'll never insult anyone here, at least.
Yeah.
In most reputable businesses, they'll never feel insulted either. Right?
Absolutely. I think so, for sure, because it's like we talked about, it's not just financial institutions, that our members are being targeted, but even Amazon, or utilities.
I saw one, we attend some conferences and stuff and kind of communicate. One was like the municipality of their local government. They were like, you haven't paid your whatever tax or something.
Right.
They even have something on their banner. I'll have to share it with you, but it was like a banner saying, if we reach out to you for payment for your tax assessment, this isn't us, or something. Like, it's anywhere where money is involved, or something that can be.
I got a spoof call from someone saying that they were calling me from the sheriff's office. And I tried to keep it going, but because I thought, where could this lead? Is he going to try to get me to pay him like in gift cards or wire? And then I was really frustrated. So then I said, well, I'll just come down there. And then he's like, no, it's okay. And then hung up. But I wasn't a good actress on that phone call. All right. Well, those are all really, really good tips. Oops, let me go forward. Like you mentioned, the IC3 and FTC. Tell me about those, Letitia.
IC3, that's where you can go and file a complaint. So like if you have an issue that you've had, you can, and that'll help them. Like Tony said, they'll piece it together, and they can try and narrow down where these bad actors are, like collectively, like just try. The more information they have, the bigger case that they can build.
Yeah. Well, they can spot trends, if people are using it. Every single webinar that we discuss fraud, we do talk about this, because I had never heard of it until we started really making a more valiant effort in educating consumers. And I know that you guys are really big on this in your department. And thanks to your department, your team, the Federal Trade Commission is the one email subscription that I have that I actually I'll open and I read.
Good. Okay. You read campuses too, right?
Of course.
I'm hoping so.
Of course. But the Federal Trade Commission, they'll send a alert. They'll send common scams that are on the rise. And I think it's great, because if it doesn't pertain to me, I most likely know someone in my life that it does pertain to.
No.
And we've talked about it a lot too, that fraud isn't just for our retired citizens. We really need to try to focus on, obviously, people our age, but younger people.
Yeah,
any age, honestly, at this point.
Years ago, senior citizens were targeted because they weren't as familiar with technology, maybe, but those days are gone. Everyone knows technology, but now we have teenagers with debit cards, and they just trust the internet with anything. It is our responsibility. It's everyone's responsibility to teach them, that you can't trust everything.
Yeah.
Don't click on the links, because fraud happens with teenagers too. We've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And since it is the holiday season, I always remind, I teach a class actually internally for fraud, and I always tell them Thanksgiving, Christmas time, when you're seeing your family, you can talk about these things. You know,
Yeah.
right
Right.
before you dig in to eat, just go ahead and say, hey guys, have you heard about recent scams? I learned all this stuff recently. Let's chat it out. And everyone's like, but I mean, I honestly do when I have family gatherings, there's some relatives that I haven't seen in a while, and I just want to make sure they're okay, because I feel like, you know, certain people just don't know about certain things, right?
Right.
And so if you're watching this or learning these things and you're like, I kind of already know all that, just think about the people that don't, and there's probably
Exactly.
someone in your life that you love and care about that probably
Yeah.
doesn't either.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So,
And subscribe to the Federal Trade Commission's
Yeah.
emails. They really do have great information.